Hey everyone, I'm Vlad, a software engineer with over 11 years of experience. And last few years I was working mostly as a platform engineer and as an observability engineer, helping teams to observe their systems. And today we're going to talk a little bit about AI agents for incident response and different parts of that side, like the good, the bad, the ugly. So let's start. And let's start with a good part. Modern AI, like it's growing with a huge speed. So like few years, like no one even knew it exists and it will grow like that. But yeah, since people start seeing like great value and integrating it into like their processes, companies, yeah, they see the value and they do it like fast and fast. And AI itself is also growing really fast. And many observability platforms, tags, they start also using AI, creating like AI agents inside, integrating AI in their flows. And yeah, it happen everywhere. So it's like for commercial stack, like a Datadog incident AI, PagerDuty agents, Honeycomb MCP, and like New Relic AI ops. And it also helps in open source when you just get this open source platform like you commonly use, I don't know, Prometheus, Loki, Temple, or ALK stack, or anything else. And you can connect your AI agent, like whatever it is, like Claude, Cursor, like custom agent, Codex, or you can use like also cloud solutions. They also provide their agents, like Grafana one, for example. And it happened really fast and with high impact usually. And we can see that like over 62% of organizations started implementing of different AI agents, half of them running pilots. And yeah, it's a growing trend. So like a few years ago, no one even thought about that. And why it is helpful and why people start even thinking about that. One of first thing, if you are sitting and working and like you get like your lots of like Slack question or some kind of alerts or need some investigation, I don't know, like database is slow or like some services down or like jobs are failing. So usually like we have some kind of like common process to investigate. It could be like rely on alert itself, on our stack that we use, kind of knowledge that we know about the system, knowledge of other people, about business or anything like how system works and how it's supposed to work, and general knowledge about okay how this tool works. And yeah, usually you got like some kind of, if we talk about alerts, let's say something is wrong, you most likely have to and want to have some kind of alerting for that. And you get it alert, you sometimes have, sometimes you just know what to do, like some kind of playbook. So what to do in this case. And after that, you need to gather information, like what actually happening potentially, like from multiple systems, correlate it together. So it means, okay, here I have this piece of data, here I see logs, okay, the service is failing, and I see like in metrics CPU is high and something like that, or like memory is high. And yeah, you can provide a fix. So, okay, we just need to increase memory. I don't know, something like that. But what if in this flow we just inject AI? So usually each of those steps takes some time. Okay, we need to understand the context, check what to do if we are not sure, we don't remember or anything like that. Gather all the information, understand what's happening, and fix it. But yeah, if we allow AI to do those like kind of initial analysis and like correlation and gathering all the data and providing us in like simple format, like we can skyrocket our speed to like investigation and fixing problems. And if we talk about like minor incident, it can free engineering time to spend for something more important than like just reacting to some kind of alerts. I don't know, sometimes can be noisy, but yeah, whatever can happen. And in case of some kind of major outages, to faster gather the information, assume some fixes, understand potential core reasons, and save company more money, because like usually like high incidents, it means like a business doesn't operate as expected and it can result as money loss. Yeah, in this case, it's mostly you can save lots of time on gathering the data and improve your like option to respond to this incident. And usually how it's done, particularly I saw it in many companies, so you have your AI like agent. It could be like custom agent, or like many companies I've used personally a lot, like Claude Code or Cursor agent, or some use Codex. I wrote also some kind of smaller agents, like custom ones for particular like use cases. But usually you need to connect your AI to like different systems, because AI itself, okay, it will be like ChatGPT itself. Okay, it can research some information, help you with understanding some kind of how particular system works, or like what problems, what solution to the problem can be applied. But to make it more like autonomous and powerful, you usually want to connect it to your systems. And for this, just 2 years ago, you usually wrote your like tools, how to connect to that particular API. And like lots of people did it in different ways, and like they wrote their own code. But a little bit more than a year ago, appeared like such thing as an MCP, and like its model context protocol, and it's started standardization how AI can connect to external systems. And lots of like platforms for observability, including open source, like for they allow to connect their AI agent via such MCP servers to the platform. So for example, you can connect to your Slack and search for, I don't know, a similar discussions that happened like a year ago, a similar incident, or like to Jira to see what was the ticket and why potentially could fail after deployment, or Datadog with lots of information there about telemetry data, like Confluence as a knowledge source, also Grafana has lots of telemetry data, Honeycomb, Elasticsearch, like PagerDuty to understand the page itself, or GitHub to have this access to a code and see what actually can fail if it's like a service. So lots of impact, lots of speed up. AI agent can really great gather all the information, analyze it, and provide you with some solution. But yeah, that's a great part about AI. With great parts can go also a bad parts. When you start implementing it, it's great, it's fun, until it is not. So it not always works as you expected. So one of the big problems is like it can go as deep as it can sometimes, and you need to limit it, because like you can get into a rabbit hole when it's always try to get data, analyze it, try to get more and analyze it, and try to get more and try to fix something or try to do something. And that potentially can go into probably not infinite, but almost infinite loop, and it try to change, crash, change, doesn't work. And yeah, it can get stuck analyzing strange things. Of course, like you need to have a great foundation to inject AI, because as a popular phrase, garbage in, garbage out, it means like you have to provide a great data for your AI agent, so it can understand, okay, I understand how to get the data I got from the systems, I can analyze it, and based on that analysis, I can provide some kind of like summary and what to do next. Because yeah, without that, if you don't have like good alerting, good telemetry collection, good access to that data, yeah, it's most likely won't work. Because if you cannot use that, AI probably also won't use it. Also, it's important to understand like what and explain agent what they should do. And usually as your system grows, also like context of your system and knowledge about your system grows, and like you have like tools for logging, for metrics, for tracing, for some kind of knowledge, you have your code, you have, I don't know, your like workflows and jobs and everything. Like AI cannot know everything without training extras that you companies don't usually rely on that. So you need to provide a good context on how your system works and how it can analyze what happened. And best practice is usually like to scope your agent to some particular scope of work and do more a swarm of agents or like crews. And it works much better because it can focus on one particular thing, analyze logs and collect that and gather metrics, gather like some kind of event that happened. And after that, some analytical agent can, okay, I know how to analyze this data, and based on this playbook and all this data I collected. And you have an orchestrator that can like orchestrate it. So for example, if you use like Claude Code, it usually can be like multiple agents underlines that execute your query. And yeah, without that, like you can face like lots of contexts, lower quality of responses, and yeah, it can just start providing you with strange data. And also like with when agents face something unknown, like failures that doesn't know how to do, of course there are like lots of like public information, and it's great that AI can understand that and provide you a solution, but like such kind of uncontrolled creativity is also not always great, because it can as provide you with some kind of good solution, also it can provide you with a bad solution with a mess, and you will start collecting those like errors and problems with times that can cause much bigger problems like an incident. With such things, it had to be reviewed and being under control and explained. And of course, one thing we mentioned, like we want to put like to our agent as much information as possible. But the problem that our AI agent is like with limited context, even some million tokens that some model provides, it's sometimes not enough. So you need to manage the context, okay? Like your logs can be like few gigabytes of data, and you cannot just use that as is in AI agent, and you need to like use tooling around that. So MCPs, for example, can help you to substitute those login, no, substitute, reduce those login volume, let's say, or yeah, you can provide your AI context that, okay, if you have this incident at this particular time, please use this particular time and like plus minus 10 minutes or something like that to understand if it's enough information to investigate. And if you need more, you can try to extend that, but yeah, it depends on cases. But yeah, you need to limit those stuff, because otherwise it will be just, okay, I reach my context, I don't have any information, and yeah, that's it. I just burn in tokens. And yeah, so it was mostly about like problems that we can face and we need to control. But there are also like ugly parts. So like the problems that like can go over itself and can cause much higher problems. So one of the big problems that recently start raising, it's like engineers trust AI without verification. So you just stamp, approve what, okay, I like this solution, or I don't care. Yeah, I just like YOLO mod with Claude Code or anything like that, and you start just, okay, do me this. So I've did like some projects where I just didn't know any line of code and the structure of the project itself. It just wrote something, but it's fine for small systems, small projects. When it start growing and you add like such kind of stuff to your system, it can collect errors pretty fast. It can like eventually cause much higher incidents. Yeah, and this like human in a loop, like it stopped working because of that, because yeah, people just stamp and they don't check, and it's happened more. And related problems, it's like senior engineer like skills degrades because like they start using it much more, and like they not always check it, and junior engineer cannot learn because, okay, some companies, especially a few years ago, like they start, okay, why do I need senior like junior engineer if I have senior engineer with AI? And yeah, that's cause like gap in knowledge that sometimes companies will have some trouble to renew. Yeah, and companies already started to upskill people in this, but yeah, it's still like a new problem that had to be checked. Another one, it's not only related to observability or engineering. So yeah, it generally like new way of attacking and security problems with the system, as mostly it's related to application, but it's also can be related to observability because it's important to limit your like agents in scope and don't provide it like don't allow it to do everything, because there are like such thing like prompt injection, and it's something like SQL injection like 20 years ago. So yeah, some kind of malicious prompt can be injected even in your logs if you look at some kind of request or anything like that, and that can eventually someone can put such request into your logs, and you can during investigation pick that up and execute some kind of malicious command, send some kind of data, or execute some actions that will expose your data or do some kind of other stuff. And we can like definitely see that trend is growing. So there are like almost 6 times more like in injection attacks, prompt injection attacks than was like before in 2025. So yeah, it's a huge problem, and it's still like just starting to grow because it's a new one. But yeah, of course, company think about that and they start doing different practices. So they limit the scope of where AI can have an access, internet requests, or like what tools it can access, read-only mode, and like it needs an approve for everything. Yeah, so lots of stuff to work around that, but yeah, it's one of the big problem people had to work with. So eventually, yeah, AI will continue growing, and where it's right now, we can trust it for this like data gathering, data like aggregation, analyzing, like recognition of different patterns, and like faster investigation. And those initial analysis it can do, yeah, because if you explain how to do that, it can do it really great. But you still need to verify. Basically, like you have to verify everything, because yeah, you cannot fully rely because of the problem I mentioned before. But yeah, of course, like you can rely on it, but like you cannot rely fully and verify. You need to verify anonymous execution, because if you like not verify what it's doing, it can collect like errors pretty fast, and like you cannot like rely at the moment on high risk actions. So yeah, you have to approve it and to check if everything goes as a plan. So that's why there are lots of processes in companies that like require another engineer to verify engineer's work, just because of the same issue. So not rely on a single point of failure. Like in this case, like someone commits something and you just approve it. And yeah, like new incidents, and most likely in current situation, yeah, usually you have to be this makes this final decision. But yeah, you can rely on AI on some kind of basic analysis, because it's like usually helps a lot. And yeah, so at the moment, you can think about AI as a not replacement, but like more like a pilot, or I like to think about that as a kind of AI, the like force multiplier. I just extend your capabilities like in times. It can scale productivity, like decision making and impact you can make. But with one caveat, it just multiply everything. If you don't control it, it will multiply your mistakes, errors you collect, and risks. Yeah, as we know, with great power comes great responsibility, and we have to remember it. But yeah, I totally AI, and I'm using it every day. And yeah, it's growing, it's huge, but it have to be under control. So yeah, thanks for listening.